Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Markets Hunters. I am your host, Hunter Gaylor, and today, this is the day we've been waiting for. I'm going to bring in our special guest today, John Lai of Petvivo. John, how are you today?
I'm good, Hunter. How are you doing?
I am doing very, very well. Thank you for asking. And, we're going to jump right into this today because we've got some exciting news out of the company. And we've been talking about this for some time now. We've been alluding to it. We've been talking about it, but now it's official. We are talking about human trials and where we're moving with that. So I want to give you the floor on this because this is some incredible stuff that's happening. There's a lot of really amazing innovations coming out. And we've talked about this. We've talked about this before in the space. We were looking at, what it meant for the equestrian community, what it meant for the feline, community, what it means for, the equestrian and dogs and cats and all this. But we all go back to how Petvivo originally got started when you first came out of the gate. So I want to go in with you and just kind of give you the floor as to what this means, because it seems to me that this is a milestone that is just going to rip open industry for what's going to be possible, especially in the athletic community.
Yes. So basically, we spent, probably the last 6 to 9 months with outside groups evaluating our IP, our product pipeline, analyzing the best routes to take through the FDA, the various claims, the best practices and methods to get insurance reimbursement on each one of these, because companies that are extremely successful always come out with a process where their therapy gets reimbursed by the insurance company. So we're excited. We see the path of each one of these products. So we'll be having our task force, our human advisory task force, come up and give suggestions on what they believe is the best path to take based on the objective information we got from these outside organizations that specialize on taking pharmaceutical as well as biologic products through the FDA for approval.
So, John, let's just talk about the release that came out. It's pursuing the approval of Biomatrix Particulate Technology for initial human injection. What is the process? Walk our audience through what the process is. Walk the marketplace through what this means, because I'm a runner.
Yep.
And I at some point, if I keep pushing myself as hard as I push myself when I run, at some point I'm probably going to run into some of these issues. What does this mean for someone like me and the rest of the marketplace?
So as we're seeing on the dog studies for the torn cruciates, we feel with the ligaments and tendons in the human body around, the MCL and the ACL, we feel we could get similar results where a lot of the human patients that may need surgery after an injection of SPRYNG, and we may not call it SPRYNG in the human market, that we could increase their likelihood of not needing surgery and a much quicker rehab scenario to work themselves back into athletic or just in normal lifestyle.
So and I just kind of want to break this press release down for people because there's a lot of stuff in here that's important. The slippery micro cushion used in the management of lameness and other joint-related afflictions such as osteoarthritis. Now, I've had family members that have suffered with, forms of arthritis in their hands and in their joints, and it makes life a little bit difficult, especially in an aging population. But when you talk about putting the human advisory task force, are we going to expect, and maybe this is an open-ended question, are we going to expect the same level of professional oversight that we've seen that you brought in from the equestrian side, from the veterinarian side, on the human aspect of this?
Yeah, we have some very high quality, phenomenal reputation people on this force. I expect in the next 90 days, we'll probably unveil who is on our advisory task force. We're adding a couple more. That's why we haven't. And, these are experts in various areas of sports medicine, urology, radiology, and so on. So MDs as well as professionals that have launched billion-dollar products in the pharmaceutical biologic side of the market.
So, John, let's go. Let's break this down because right here we see it just right in front of us. As a result of your successfully demonstrating by administering the SPRYNG product, okay, in a large number of companion animals and horses, you are highly encouraged by the prospect of enhancing the lives of people suffering from a variety of medical afflictions such as osteoarthritis. That's a major statement. Now let's just look at one industry aspect from a market perspective: sports. Okay, the longevity that this will, allow certain athletes. I mean, is this a career extender? Is this what are we thinking? I don't want you to make any claims or say anything else, but I just want to give the idea of.
Well, I think the easy market and application is for rehab after injury.
Okay.
Because we're seeing in the companion animal side, the amount of time that it's needed for recovery and rehab, like after a torn cruciate surgery or something like that. So that's moving pretty fast. We're seeing that. I think that's an easy one. And that's also an easy one for the insurance companies to reimburse on the human side. Because also you're telling someone, okay, this person has a serious injury. It could take them the next 9 months of PT. And then all of a sudden we're demonstrating you can be back and functioning in 45 to 60 days. That's going to save the insurance company a lot of money. And I think that's a typical example of what we went through as part of this analysis with our CRO group and getting the publication put together where we were comfortable in doing this news release.
Well, you basically stated right here that your company's management team, in cooperation with your human advisory task force, you anticipate all the regulatory plans to be complete for new human product implementing the Biomatrix, the technology, the first part of the calendar year of 2024. That's right around the corner, John. So it's not like we're waiting a long period of time for something like this. And you're also stating here very clearly that your products for human use will be manufactured by the Petvivo or by Petvivo in the state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in Minnesota, which you're opening the end of this year. So
yeah, in August. So now it becomes clear because everybody says, "Holy cow, you're expanding 4.5 times. What are you guys doing?" So the pieces were always being put in place.
Right. So now it's starting to unfold. And like we've been following this company for some period of time now, knowing that at some point we were leading to this because this is what you've been talking about. And as much as we've been, very enamored with the success that you've seen in the equestrian space and the companion space or the animal companion space, now we're really getting to a market where the sheer size of this from, an all natural type of injection that I could get after an injury to help me, create a faster recovery time so that I can get back on the tennis court or I can get, back, running. This is a significant game changer, John. This is what I'm reading. I mean, help us walk through what you feel it means for the industry.
So, the global market for OA and lameness injuries and sports injury is north of 200 billion a year. So the market is quite large, and we feel our product is quite disruptive in the animal side. And I think as 3 of the studies come to fruition where we can do podium presentations sometime at the end of September, early October, it will really help solidify the ability to bring this into the human side of the market.
Well, and I mean, look, it speaks testaments to the volume of the company because you keep a very tight knit held company with Petvivo Holdings, and for those of us watching, it's PETV, and I'm sure a lot of our audience knows you now, John. Let's talk about some other events that have happened. June 5th, you came out. We're rounding out. We're almost toward the end of the month, but we did have Dr. Thomas Yarbrough. Yarbrough, if
Yarbrough, yeah,
pronouncing that correctly. Senior Research Director. Is there going to be any overlap between what he's doing now on the human factor side? Can you walk us through that a little bit?
So if you look at the news release, he has expertise on human OA also. So yeah, he would definitely be on the advisory panel.
Okay, wonderful. So, John, just a couple more questions while we have you today, and I know your time is limited, so we appreciate you joining the program. From the management perspective and from a stock perspective, obviously this is Market Hunters. We are looking at it from a market perspective. A $200 billion market is huge. What should we be looking at, or the investors? Is this still a 3 to 5 year hold? Or if you're hitting the market early in 2024, I mean, are people going to, what is your thought process? And I know out of all the CEOs and stuff that I talk with, you are the most conservative when it comes to saying what it is that you know, you're not giving away the, you know, the whole market here, because you are step by step reaching milestones and surpassing said milestones. So just walk us through from a market perspective, given your experience, what you feel the stock might do and what the letter or what the statement that you would have out to the investors would be.
Well, I'm not going to make forecasts on the stock, but I am going to talk about, you know, as these studies come through, I think it allows us to make very strong statements about SPRYNG in the companion animal space. And I think that gives the marketing and sales team very good ammo to go to the small animal vet clinics, as well allow us from a corporate standpoint, go after the corporate accounts like Banfield and so on, because
Sure.
those always require clinical evidence. And I feel that after September, we're going to have very good evidence for them to approve our product being sold in large numbers of corporate clinics.
So, John, just a market perspective, you know, we did go back in several of our conversations and we talked about just the equestrian market and what we were able to calculate based on the number of horses in the market share and what our, you know, projected revenues could be if we reach a certain amount of, you know, horses and a certain number of dogs in the marketplace based on the price of the injection. Is the price of the OsteoCushion, the SPRYNG injection, going to be relatively the same, or is it going to be more, or is it, what is the market going to look like? If something happens to me, is my insurance covering this the same way it is for pets? Is is this an over, do I have to go, you know, under the needle to get something, or is this, I can go to my local, you know, doctor and get it administered? These are some of the questions I think that people are going to be asking from a practicality standpoint.
The pricing is way too early to try to figure out. Okay.
Okay.
I do feel there will be insurance reimbursement, as we did all the studies and all the analysis based on getting insurance reimbursement. Typically, this injection, in my opinion, would be done by rehab doctors and orthopedicists and radiologists.
Okay.
I don't think your GP would do it, but you just don't know. It's like, you know, in the equine space, every vet feels comfortable doing an intra-articular injection, you know. But when you get the small animals, not every vet feels comfortable doing an intra-articular injection. So it'll be interesting when we get out into the human market to see how this is perceived. And, you know, with technology, you're able to use ultrasound to really guide these needles. So it may make it really easy for a GP to do it. So as we evolved and going through the process, a lot of applications can occur, but we know the market's large. We all go in for a spinal block or whatever, you know, when we're having back pains and stuff like that. So it'd be a similar process.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this product starts rolling out over time, especially when you're able to go in front of the podium and talk about the results, especially, you know, in high performance athletes, especially ones that come across, you know, these injuries, or these athletes that are prone to these types of injuries, similar to that of a horse, right? Because these horses are competing the same way that humans are competing, right? They're running around a field in a track. Humans are running around a field in a track, right? So there's still the same level of wear and tear that's going on in the human aspect. Same from the, you know, the feline perspective, the companion animals, the equestrian market. So it's going to be very interesting to follow along. But this is breakthrough, John. I mean, I'm really excited for this because this gives me hope that it's going to be really exciting technology that comes out, you know, and it's the same methodology. It's not like, I know we had talked a little bit in the past, and for our viewers, just to remind them, you know, there were, and we won't mention names, but some products on the market, not from this country, you know, synthetic, not good for you at all, doesn't have all of the same levels of testing and study that the SPRYNG product has been able to demonstrate and have been very successful. And another note, by the way, I recently had one of your veterinarians on our program, and we were talking about, he actually had his dog with him in the video. It was great. He actually helps teach how to do the injections for other vets that may not have that skill set. So it's going to be very interesting to see the adoption if it runs parallel to the veterinarian community as the GP community from, you know, just a general practice perspective. Because it's something, if we could just go in, hey, I've got this, and we, you know, it's not going to hurt us. Right? It's just going to be.
Well, that's the big thing, is we have a lot of human testing where it's totally safe, you know.
Right.
So it'll be, doctors will have a comfort level that they can help but not hurt the patient, because right now, even on the animal side, we're still the last resort product that they use sometimes. You know, when they're first new to the product, they said, like, I have this one situation, I looked from the vet exactly what the dog was taking. I said to the vet, I can't believe this dog still has a liver. It's got 6 different medications at once.
Oh my goodness.
And after the injection of SPRYNG, the dog is totally off those 6 medications, and it's running quite well. And the vet said, you know, it was much easier than I expected, the injection. And so it's just a matter of getting accustomed and used to it. So the equine side, everybody's used to it, just, you know, doing the injections, pretty much the intra-articular injections. But when you get to the small animals, they're afraid of it. They think it's a major procedure. But I think when you interviewed Dr. Stern, he talked about how easy the injection is. And when he taught other general practitioners or internists, they were able to do it, and they started using the product that way.
Right. Yeah. No, and that was the main takeaway. It was the fact that, you know, it's just an educational exercise here, right? It's getting them comfortable with the procedure that they may or may not have done, and getting used to, you know, as the public starts learning and they start researching and they start seeing, you know, videos like this and our conversations, and these more of these veterinarians come out. I think it's going to be the same thing on the human side when they start doing their research and the public starts waking up to the fact that, hey, here is something where I don't need, you know, all these drugs and pain medications and all these other things that you have to take, right? You can wean yourself off of that because you've got a very solid product, right, that will help actually solve a lot of these problems, especially in our joints and our ligaments for the active community, right? Especially in the aging population. So, John, always a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you so much. And for all of our listeners, this will be live on Spotify, iHeartRadio. We'll be all across LinkedIn. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow to the Petvivo podcast, or the Petvivo interview here on our podcast, which is great. And John, you know, any closing thoughts you'd like to say to our audience, or, you know, anything on the horizon? Very briefly.
Just keep up to date by checking into our website, you know, at petvivo.com. Everybody at Petvivo is pretty excited about the announcement and the moving forward. It was strange where I was getting all these emails from our sales team saying, this is amazing. We love your, you know, we're pushing into that to help people too.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah. So I guess the big question that I'll leave you on this before we let you go from the program, is the product going to be called Human Vivo?
No, you know, we leave that to our ad agency. Okay,
there you go. There you closer. Yeah, there you go. It's going to be Viva Los Humans, right?
Yes,
there you go. It will.
Great talking to you, Hunter.
There you go. Always great, John. Thank you so much for being on the program. Thank you so much.
Yep. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, everyone, another great interview brought to you right here by the Markets Hunter. I mean, it's these types of conversations. I know we kind of get silly here and there with these things, but I mean, it's going to give us the ability to put a spring back in our step, right? Especially for the aging community. So this is groundbreaking news out of Petvivo. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go to their website. Go follow Petvivo on Twitter. Make sure you go to petvivo.com. Follow all of the information. we will link all the press releases in this when this is published across all platforms. And so once again, we just thank you everyone for tuning in, liking, and subscribing. And as always, make sure you follow Markets Hunter, where we keep bringing you a lot of different opportunities to consider.